Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to your winter science unit on energy. You will have two notebooks for this unit. One of them is a paper notebook, which you should have already received from your teachers, and the other is this digital notebook. The covers are the same, so hopefully that will help remind you to grab that paper journal whenever you also see your digital journal with the same cover in an assignment from your teachers. This digital journal contains all of the links necessary for you to watch the videos in order to learn how to either observe an experiment or actually also partake and do the experiment. You'll learn more about how to use your paper journal in another video. So as we look at this slideshow in Google, I currently am not in present mode, and I have done that on purpose. Therefore, I have the bottom, if you can see me sliding, the bottom row preview of slides back and forth. This allows me to navigate easily. Once I get to a spot in a lesson where I need to play a video though, I will want to hit present, which is this arrow up in the top corner next to the person and the plus. And then you would just hit present on this device. Then you'd be able to activate the link to watch the video. That's why as teachers we decided to give you a paper journal as well for this unit. As you're watching the video, you can be pausing it and only using your iPad to be watching and pausing videos. And the paper journal is where you'll record your results and sometimes even use some of those papers to build part of the experiment. What I'd like to do is take you through some of the icons you will remember from your social studies unit. Some of these are very self-explanatory, but these images will remind you whether you need to read directions, read a passage, type an answer. This journal, the right icon that is, will remind you to get your paper journal out to write in that. The watch, I'll kind of illuminate it right here, also has the image or icon that is to watch a video. And if ever you need to draw in your paper journal, that icon is there for you as well. The other thing I wanted to draw your attention to is the keep going. So every time, as you see on the bottom of this slide, every time you need to keep going within a day's lesson, you'll see that white arrow and a blue circle. But when you get to the end of a lesson for the day, that slide will have a stop sign at the bottom. So a lot of those should hopefully be familiar to you from social studies. There are some new icons, however, for the sake of this new science unit. We do different things with science, right? We gather materials and we explore. Sometimes we take on a hands-on activity, and of course we have to jot down and record our results. So as you can see on this sheet here, there are different icons that will take you through those actions in each lesson. Usually it follows this flow, meaning the first step of every lesson will ask you and remind you, here are the materials you need to gather before you watch the video. There's also a list of words for each lesson that are science words, are academic words for that lesson. And there'll be a dictionary. It's on a Padlet. You'll see a link later. So that way you can look up those definitions of those words you may be unfamiliar with. The exploration, this icon, will always be near the time when you watch a video. So you'll be exploring and watching what is the concept we're going to dig into today. Next, the hands-on activity icon reminds you and gets you ready to say this is when you're going to either build your hands-on activity and or actually use and do the hands-on activity. While you're doing that, you're going to be watching for those results, because the next icon, labeled as it should be, recording of results, will remind you to get out your paper journal, and it'll tell you what page number to record the results from that hands-on activity. Now, our first investigation has what's called an anchor phenomenon, an anchor thought, right? Just, an inquiry-based concept that we want to keep connecting to with that after each of the first 4 lessons. So you'll see this icon after 4 of the first lessons to remind you to go back, and it'll be very explicit. It sounds a little odd right now not seeing the other sheets, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, being that you are at home doing this activity and there's a chance you're by yourself or don't have a partner at home to help you with some of the cutting out or the creating and building, if ever any of these activities get a little bit too frustrating to finish when you're building it at home, that's okay. Your teachers have provided all of the materials necessary for you to complete each of these activities. But we also know that there are times when, as much as we try and as hard as we try, sometimes it just doesn't work out as well. And that's where we're kind of missing that component, of course, with distance learning. And if we were in the class, we'd have a partner or the teacher to help us with that. But if you don't have anyone to turn to at home, I don't want you to panic. So notice this last box down here. This icon is going to remind you during each of these activities that maybe you don't have all the materials necessary, or maybe you've tried and you've gotten to a point and it's just, you've folded the pages and the marble's not rolling right, or the paper clip's not sitting correctly. Whatever it might be, it's okay. The nice thing about the way this unit is set up is that the videos will take you through the whole activity as well. So the hands-on activity is there for you to engage, right? And to take some of that exploration on yourself. But we know that times are different right now, and you may not be able to actually do all of the activity independently. And again, that's okay. So follow along with the videos, either from Foss, Mystery Science, or myself, and record the results based on what you see in the video instead of what you do yourself. That's okay. So just as I've mentioned before, when you go through a lesson, you're going to follow those steps, or the lesson steps, that is, step by step. Make sure that you take time to pause, even rewind anytime you need to zoom in or pause and kind of create something or reflect. You want to make sure you're in a space where you can just have that space free of other distractions. It's also a good idea to think, I'm going to keep these materials in a bin or a bag, wherever it came from. Try to maybe keep that location, your science location, throughout this unit. That way the materials don't get misused or lost during these times. You'll notice in your paper journal, we'll talk about soon, has some reading in there, but there's a couple of places in this journal as well, the digital journal, where you'll be reading too. Think of those nonfiction reading strategies as you do. We'll talk about the paper journal in another screencast. So this slide, this is slide 8, can be useful for a table of contents. If your teacher told you to be working on investigation 1, lesson 1, what is energy? I don't know if I can highlight it. I'm going to try. It's not. Oh, there we go. So if you can see where my cursor is right now, notice how there are 2 days in this activity, this event, or this lesson that is. If I wanted to quickly just go to that day's lesson, the purple is a hyperlink, to that lesson. But how do I get that hyperlink to work? I would want to be in present mode. So once again, I'm going to go to the top right-hand corner, hit that triangle, hit present on this device. Sometimes it takes a moment. Oh, if you find that you tap on your screen and it skips you ahead a page, swipe to the right. I usually do it with my thumb in the middle of the slide and to the right, and it rewinds the pages for me. I'm going to hit on the hyperlink that says day 1-slide 18. I have gone to slide 18. How do I know I'm on slide 18? Take a look at the bottom right-hand corner. There are slide pages in this digital journal this time around. So now I know I'm on investigation 1, lesson 1, and even more so day 1. Now I'm going to swipe to the left to turn the page. This is where I wanted to remind you that we saw those icons earlier. Here's materials to gather. There are 2 sheets from your paper journal you'll need for this activity, and notice it has a turquoise box that says those are on pages 9 and 10 of your paper journal. At the bottom are pictures of actual materials you need to complete the activity you'll see in the video. But again, remember, if it gets to be a little bit too hard, frustrating, or what have you, you can just watch the video as it is. Once you have the materials assembled, my idea would be to swipe left to turn to the next page, and you'll always be given an overview sheet for each lesson. These overview sheets will have your objective, your focus question, or focus questions in this case, your I can statements, and the vocabulary that are specific to this lesson. So what are some science words that we need to know for this lesson? What you can do with this page is not only read it over, but you can also engage in the bottom link, the Padlet link. So again, if you needed to know what a stored energy meant, you could find that out by clicking on the Padlet dictionary link at the bottom. I'm going to touch that now. All right, it has redirected me there. I know I'm in Investigation 1, Lesson 1. So that's this column right here that I'm swiping up and down in. Notice the first term is stored energy. Since the definition isn't typed there, I'm going to click on the link to get there, to the definition. And it takes me to Cool Cat Facts and describes that potential energy is energy that has the ability to do work or to cause change. And if I'd like to, I could go on and read more and even see some images that support that. Once I've pulled down back to the top, notice the word done has appeared in the upper left-hand corner. Hit done, and it will take you right back to this slideshow. Now that I've taken a moment to read over the focus question, the I can statements, and the vocabulary, I want to turn the page. And again, I'm going to do that by swiping left. Then I'm usually given the link to the video that will take me through today's lesson. A lot of the lessons take us to Mystery Science, and I wanted to show you how with Mystery Science, you don't really have to have a login. So notice how this image, the screenshot of the car going very fast, has a play button in the middle. This whole image is a hyperlink. Because I'm already in present mode, all I have to do is tap on the box or the image, and it automatically takes me to the Mystery Science lesson. If your links aren't working, please let your teacher know. Once I'm now in Mystery Science, I have to once again hit the play button. Make sure your volume's up. My volume is not playing right now. I don't know why.
People might tell you, you seem hyper.
I paused the video just now. I noticed something as I was doing this demonstration for you. I paused the video, so I'm actually going to take my finger and rewind. On the video at the bottom, on that progress bar, I'm going to drag that dot back to the beginning. However, when I began to play, even though the volume was up on my iPad, I hadn't turned the video on the screen. Notice the sound image icon, if you will, on the right-hand side.
Hi, it's Doug. Have you ever
went away? I guess if it's on mute, it appears, and if it's not on mute, it doesn't appear. So what I had to do a moment ago was in the upper right-hand corner, hit that sound icon, and it turned the sound on. What I wanted to do, though, before I hit play again, is take you through the visuals presented in this Mystery Science video. There's a few options you have. You have the X in the upper left-hand corner. So this X would take you out of this lesson, which we don't need to use. But there are arrows, these purple arrows to the left and right, allowing you to rewind. Once I'm done, if I tap on the screen, I see that there's this first video, and I'm just going to, for the sake of this screencast, fast forward it. It was only about 1 minute and 20 seconds. When you get to the end of a video, Doug from Mystery Science will kind of leave you hanging at the end, sometimes with a question. When you're done thinking of the question or doing what he asks, it will be your job to hit the purple arrow on the right to go to the next stage. Notice how this isn't a video. In this situation, we have a discussion question. Something for you to think about and reflect on. So don't rush through this step. But after you have, hit the right-hand arrow, and in this case, it takes you to another video. I can tell that this video is going to be 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Once again, I'm going to fast forward through this video just for the sake of this screencast. Okay, so at the very end, he again leaves us with a question. I'm going to hit that arrow to the right and have that moment to reflect and pause on that question. Once I've done that, I don't have to be writing this down. These are just in our thoughts, in our head. I'm going to hit the arrow to the right. Again, another video. And so the nice thing about the way Mystery Science is set up pardon me, is that every step along the way is chunked. And we don't have to go through a whole long video. He sort of chunks it up for us. This gives you time to break, pause, rewind even, right? To complete the activities needed. Right now, we're still in that explore stage. We're watching Doug's videos. He's giving us some things to think about. I'm going to hit fast forward on the right. Another discussion question where I would take some time to think and reflect. I'll hit the next arrow. This is where in many and all of your mystery science activities, it'll get to the stage where Doug's going to take you through, get your materials, build this activity, do the experiment. So notice again, this part of the video is only 42 seconds. So he gives you a preview of what's going to happen.
In today's activity, you're going to build a new amusement park ride.
So he kind of goes you through that, and I'm not going to, again, stay on the whole thing. And he shows you, notice the image I've landed on right now shows me some of the tools I need to have handy, and it shows me the end result of what my paper should look like. And again, this is a piece of paper you would have gotten from your paper journal. I'm going to hit the right arrow again to continue on. Notice how at this stage it says find a partner. You won't have a partner because you'll be at home.
You're done with this step.
I'm trying to pause that, sorry. You will be at home. So ignore those steps when you see them. Hit the right arrow and notice how we're now involved in steps. Look at the top left-hand corner. Step 2 of 18. Every time he tells you to do something in these 18 steps, there's a pause in the video. So right now, my sound is off, but he's saying, please get out these supplies. So if you haven't already, this is a time for you to just leave your iPad alone and go grab your scissors, crayons, and this sheet. When you're ready, you hit the arrow to the right. Notice how now they're modeling in step 3 how to fold the paper, what you're going to do with the paper. And again, once they've modeled that, they're going to pause. Let's see, I wanted to try
and fold it in half again on the thin line. And make a good crease there too. Okay, it'll look like this when you're done.
Something I wanted to draw your attention to is that thumb, that thumbs up image that the
Fold your Twist-O-Matic
modeler did. And at the end of every step, they give you that thumbs up to say, once you're done with that stage, you can move on, right? They're done modeling, you do it, and then you move on. The video just sort of replays. Notice how I'm still on step 3 and it just kind of replayed. It's up to you to hit that arrow on the right to get to the next step. I'm not going to go through all of these steps, but I wanted to take you through how the steps are going up. So now we're on step 7. Step 8. And so within each of these moments, you will be doing and replicating what they're doing in the video with the materials you have at home. Some of the time we're building the experiment, and others of the time we're actually doing the experiment. When there is a page, I'm going to try to pause that. When there is a page that you need to record your responses on, this is when you would turn to your paper notebook and find the sheet that looks exactly like this. Then you can use your pencil to record whatever the responses are, or the observations you're having on your own tool, or if you're watching Doug's video, you will write those answers and responses down on the sheet that looks like this. In this situation, he has you take down a few other observations. And once again, notice the bottom part of that worksheet is circled in pink. He's really specific about saying, please answer right here, right now. So if you just take the time to slowly go through these videos, Doug will take you through every step. In this situation, there happens to be one last wrap-up video. And again, this is where if you didn't have the supplies at home, or if you tried and it just didn't work, this is a video that you would watch and then use to record your results based on the video from Doug. Last, in each of these first investigations, we anchor everything back to the first thing we do, which is a see, think, and wonder chart, again, found in your paper journal. And now when you see the word extensions, you can use that white X in the upper left-hand corner to say, I'm done. And even more specifically, if you want to get back to your digital journal, I would hit the word done in the upper left-hand corner. So just from this one link in this one slide, I was able to go through the whole journal. Once I've done that and I've done the activity, I've recorded my results, I'm going to swipe to the right. This reminds me that this was a good stopping point for today that the video told me. So I see that stop sign and I know I'm going to be done for the day. When I start again on the next day, I swipe to the right again. Notice how the words day 2 are highlighted, and it just reminds you this is where you'll start for today. And something I wanted to draw your attention to is the turquoise box kind of in the middle of this page. It says pages 4. So anytime that we ask you to fill out a sheet from your paper journal, we put in what page number in your paper journal that page can be found. I'm going to swipe to the next page. There are also times when you have articles to read that are in your paper packet. Again, we have the page numbers mentioned on the top of that slide. So in this situation, you would turn to pages 15 and read through page 20 to read those 2 articles. And what we do at the end of every investigation, or every lesson that is we fill out a QECR. And that has a different screencast on it, so see that slide later. But you'll use evidence from these articles to help you write that QECR. I still see the white arrow at the bottom, so I'm going to swipe to the right. Notice the self-assessment checklist. This is a clue or cue to me to say, hey, I'm done with the investigation. But before I just tune out and I'm done, I want to make sure I did everything I need to for this specific investigation. Notice the directions at the top. It says, think about the work you did during investigation 1, lesson 1. Make sure you completed the activities in your digital notebook and the paper notebook. There will be a different set of bulleted lists for every single lesson, but the good thing is that'll tell you specifically what you should have done. So a lot of them remind and ask you, did you watch the video from either Mystery Science or FOSS? Did you use your materials to create the activity? Did you do the hands-on activity? Did you fill out the sheet where we recorded our responses? You'll be connecting to your See, Think, and Wonder sheet. You'll also notice in your paper journal that there are these things called end of mystery assessments. The page numbers are listed for each lesson, and they're just questions that go over the experiment you just did. What articles did you need to read, and did you fill out the QECR? So this is a very helpful checklist, and if you happen to be in Notability with this, you could check them off, right? Otherwise, you might want to just keep it for yourself as a checklist and then go back in your paper journal to make sure you've done all of the tasks expected of you. I'm going to try to get out of present mode. If I could. I'm going to tap the very top, and then I get the X. I'll do that again. I'm going to hit the X. And now that I'm out of present mode, I wanted to just once again slide on this toolbar at the bottom all the way to the beginning to say, I just took you through one lesson and the different routines you'll go through it. A lot of everything you'll find is on, you have your materials together, your content you'll learn and the vocabulary, the link to the video, and then your self-assessment checklist. Did you do everything necessary for that activity? The table of contents is on slide 8. So again, if you need to go on to a different lesson, you can always use page 8 to do so. If you have any questions, please see your teacher.